Hello everybody and welcome back to the Choose UCalgary Podcast, episode number 6 from season 2. So for those who are new to the podcast, here's where you can find a more candid, off-the-cuff look at admissions, student life, programs, and everything else that the University of Calgary has to offer. My name is Max Sturley, your host for season 2. I work in the registrar's office as an undergraduate student recruitment advisor, also known as the digital recruiter here at the U of C. So in this installment of the podcast, I spoke with two current Dino student athletes, Bobbi-Jo, Colburn, and Grabe. Bobby and Lauda are on the women's basketball team here at the university, both of whom were recruited. So they lent their time on this episode to share their experience heading into the post-secondary environment, both athletically and academically as fresh recruits. They also come from very different backgrounds. Bobby is from Cranbrook, BC, so just a stone's throw away, whereas Lauda is from Riga, Latvia, so she came all the way from Europe to Calgary to come play basketball for the Dinos. So without further ado, here are Bobby and Lauda for episode 6. Let's go back in time a little bit to when you guys were thinking about post-secondary in general and basketball in general as a sporting option. So how did that process start for you from a whole recruitment perspective? Either one of you can go ahead. It's okay. No order here.
Actually, so I was in grade 12 and I was training with a girl who used to play post-secondary. And she actually played for Damien, our head coach, and she was like, "What are you doing next year? Like, do you want to play? Like, what do you want to do?" And I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I was talking to a few coaches or whatever, but she was just like, I played for Damien. He's a great coach. I'm gonna give you his number. Like, shoot him a text. I'll tell him that you're gonna text him or whatever. Or I think I actually even emailed him, a little more formal, but. Yeah, so I emailed him, and then the next day I actually was on a phone call with him, and we just kind of chatted, and I was like, okay, this guy's actually kind of nice, like, he's cool, and I went on a recruit visit the next weekend. Like, it happened all so quickly.
So they invited you in to come see the school, facilities, all that stuff?
I was there for a weekend. I watched them play, I think it was our Calgary Cup tournament, actually, so I watched 2 games and then had like a team social at another alumni's house and just kind of got a feel with the team, and we went out to the mountains, and it was a pretty cool recruit trip.
Awesome. How about you, Lada?
I already going into grade 12 knew that I wanted to go somewhere, and I wasn't sure if I want to play because the last season was kind of tough for me. I didn't play, so I was like, do I want to play? Do I want to go just study? But then I got a text from the Latvian coach actually here, and he was a strength and conditioning coach, and he was like, yeah, are you interested? And that was something new, like, you never heard about Canada and basketball. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was something new, and like I liked the conversation, how it went, and I talked to head coach, and I liked the ideas and how they see basketball, so yeah. So
before that, it's fair to say that Canada and even the U of C as an option wasn't really on your radar?
No, not at all, because, like, it's all about, like, states and people helping you to go to states and stuff, but, like, nobody has ever, like, talked about going. I knew there was one player in UFS,
Yep.
But it's, like, you never heard about a lot of that, but, yeah.
Gotcha. So what was your first connection like when you first came to Canada to visit the Dinos, just the school in general? What was your overall first impression?
Like, I didn't have visit, so
I kind of went in blind then.
I just decided, like, so when I first came, I actually wasn't with a team for the first day because I was still playing for a national team in Latvia. So I came when they were already a month together, so it was a little bit scary, and especially, like, I wasn't, like, sure about my language, so you don't want to really speak up and, like, stuff. But it was really nice because first 2 days we went to mountains, and then you just, like, see everybody how they're, like, natural and, like, now in basketball. So it was really nice. Like, I already got, like, good vibes on the first day, so it was nice.
Awesome. And for you, Bobby, just going back a little bit about your recruiting experience, what was kind of the deciding factor for you? Because beyond athletics and everything, you're also thinking about program you want to study and,
Yeah.
you know, lifestyle outside of both of those things. So what ultimately led you to choose UC?
Like, aside from basketball, definitely was, as soon as I came to Calgary, I just felt, like, so welcomed, and, like, everyone was just so nice and was happy, and, like, the atmosphere here was just so totally different. Like, I went to high school in Vancouver, and, like, a lot of the people there are a little more snobby and, like, keep to themselves.
Preaching to the choir.
Yeah. But here, like, everyone was just so, like, wanting to get to know you and just really, I don't know, going out of their way almost. So that definitely had a big factor of it.
Yeah, for sure, I can agree. Like, everybody was so friendly, welcoming, and yeah, it felt, like, kind of weird at first, like, that everybody's so friendly, but you always, in Latvia, you even hear, like, that Canada has the nicest people, and, like, yeah, I can say that, like, it's kind of true, yeah. Like, people are super friendly here, yeah.
Were there any similarities from Latvia coming to Calgary that you can think of? I know it's putting you on the spot a bit, but
yeah. I don't know, like, cultures are quite different, but, like, I don't know, like, when I talk to people, like, I always say, like, Canadians are, like, I have to stay in the middle of Americans and Europeans, because you're not quite as Americans, but not quite as Europeans. So,
sure.
Yeah, so I kind of, like, yeah, it wasn't so different, but it wasn't the same. The cultures are different.
And when you guys first came here, do you remember specifically, beyond the coach, who the first person you connected with, whether it was a teammate or the athletic trainer or whatever that was like for you guys?
It was Shannon for sure, yeah. Like, she's European too, and she's super nice, and yeah, like, she talked with me a lot about basketball and how she has been here, and yeah, she was the first one.
Mine was, she's no longer on our team, actually, but it was Freya. She's from Great Britain, and she just, like, was just, like, a little mom, and just was just, like, so cute, and just was very, like, almost literally out of her way, like, was just so kind. And
Awesome. So going through the day-to-day life as an athlete on campus, obviously academics is a big part of university, athletics, you're practicing all the time, you have games. So can you guys take me through the average week for you and maybe some ideas or things you focus on to keep that balance? Because I imagine it's pretty difficult at times.
Yeah.
It's pretty busy.
No, yeah, definitely time management is one of the biggest things I learned in my first year, like balancing 4 classes on top of practices, film, games on the weekend, and then still having to be able to sleep and eat and, like, have extra time to study.
And have a social life too. Like,
yeah,
yeah, that's also, yeah.
Definitely. No, yeah, it's like, it's a hard transition for sure, but, I mean, yeah, we practice, 4 times a week?
When season starts,
Yeah. And then we have film sessions twice a week.
Lifts twice a week.
And then 2 games on the weekend. And then shooting slots. So in between, like, our schools, like our class schedule and practices, we actually have, like, a 30-minute shooting slot. So we go in the gym and you put up, like, there's, like, a shooting machine gun. And you shoot on it for 30 minutes and then you put it down and then you got to go to class or whatever.
Yeah. And has there been any points so far in your academic and athletic careers where that balance, you maybe lost a bit of control in that balance, or have you guys done pretty well? Yeah.
No, definitely. In my first year, I'm a very social person, so I struggled with the whole, I was like, oh, I don't need to go to the library, you know? But, I mean, my grades have come a long way from my first year, so it's good.
It also gets tougher when, like, season gets going and, like, or playoffs are coming, like, you don't want to think about that much about school because, you know, like, this is it, like, basketball is going to be done soon, so you want to, like, focus just on basketball.
Yeah.
Right. And for those who don't know, season goes essentially from end of September till February, assuming March, yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's March.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that doesn't include playoffs, is that right?
That is.
Oh, that is playoffs.
So
yeah, okay.
playoffs start February.
Yeah,
Right.
mid-February.
Yeah.
And are you guys training before September, like starting
Yeah,
August at some point?
We
so
start in July.
Oh, July. Okay.
Yeah, we start July 1st.
So pretty much if you're under a traditional schedule, so the fall winter semester, you're going until basically mid-March.
Yeah.
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 And then so after that, that's kind of like maybe the one break you guys get, but you're
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
doing stuff.
No,
Is that
yeah.
fair?
Yeah.
Like the hardest part I would say is like sometimes we only get 4 days for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we have to come back on Boxing Day because we will play games on the 2nd sometimes,
Yeah.
like January 2nd.
Right.
Yeah, so that's one part, like,
Yeah.
I know a lot of students take for granted.
Yeah.
Definitely, they're like, yeah, like, I only get 2 weeks for Christmas. I'm like, I wish.
Yeah. I haven't had any Christmas in
Yeah,
last
you
2 years.
especially,
Yeah,
yeah, you
it's-
don't get to go home.
Yeah.
From what you guys know, because obviously if we're going to have a ton of athletes on campus, there's going to be things to help you guys, to help you go along, whether it's academics or mental health or athletic therapy or whatever it is. So in your experience, how can you tell me a little bit about what's available to you as Dino's athletes in that regard, and just what it's like and how you guys have used it?
It's a lot of help.
There's so much.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, one thing that is actually amazing about our school. Like, with our grades stuff, like the GPS, I guess.
Yeah.
There's always tutors for us in, like, our athlete success center or something it's called.
Yeah.
There's always, like, tutors to help you read papers and go over, I don't know, people who do math stuff.
Yeah, I have used math stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like you drop by and they will always be ready to help, and
Yeah.
then athletic therapy for sure.
Saviors.
Wow.
They
Yeah,
are
they do
saviors.
amazing stuff. You
Yeah.
just come out of there and you're like, oh, this, I feel like a new person. Like,
Yeah. No.
It's great.
Yeah, so all the teams get, like, a student athletic therapist, so we'll have a junior and a senior.
Yeah.
And then they travel on the road with us as well, and yeah, they're always really great. I mean, they're super cool too, and they really work hard to like figure out what's going on with us.
That's awesome. What's your favorite part about being here at the university aside from athletics? Because athletics tend to dominate your life, I'm sure, but everyone has interests outside of what they do. So I was just curious, what's one of your favorite parts about being here at the university?
I just love the atmosphere here,
Yeah.
like just being here and able to study and play, like it's a huge opportunity. Not many people can get it, and I just enjoy it every day, like being around different cultures and different people, meeting new people, and it's great. Like
Yeah. I would say, like, the biggest thing for me was meeting new people at, like, definitely university in general. So many people, like, I grew up in a very small town, and getting out of the small town was just, like, crazy for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And how about if you had to be selfish, because you guys outlined a lot of cool things about being an athlete, what's your favorite part about being a Dino?
team.
Yeah, the
like,
team.
We are great.
Yeah,
like-
we got a lot of cool gear. I mean, both
Yeah.
of us
Yeah,
are,
just
like-
dress up in Dino swag, yeah.
No, definitely, like, to
Yeah.
strut the Dino stuff. Like, even there's all the athletes will wear their
Like, we're
Dino's
able-
gear, and, like, you
yeah.
always just give them a little, like, smile
Yeah.
wave. Like, it's like a cult.
We are being able to, like, travel to, like, our
Yeah.
guys just went to Virgin Islands. and-
Yeah, it definitely takes you, like I would never have went so many places, like Brandon, Manitoba.
Yeah.
Never would have went there.
Yeah. And out of curiosity, because there's 14 varsity teams, 9 club teams as well on campus, how connected are you guys with the other teams?
Super connected. I mean, even this morning, me and my roommates were talking about, okay, so the soccer game's on Thursday, kickoff's on Friday, like, we gotta go to that after practice, and we hang out with them. Like, some of my, like, really good friends are all on the other teams, and I don't know, it feels like family, too.
Yeah, it does, for sure.
Yeah.
As best you can, is that something you guys try to do, is to go
Yeah.
to as many Dinos events as possible? Because for those who don't know, a lot of the Dinos events, like you said, are Fridays and Saturdays, and that often conflicts with
Yeah.
other sports, whether
yeah.
it's volleyball, football, hockey, whatever it
yeah.
is. So
Yeah.
It's hard.
It
but-
is hard, definitely, but, like, I know, even one time on our bye weekend, we were just, like, all just so tired, and we noticed, we're like, oh my gosh, the women's hockey team is playing right now, why aren't we there? We all just drove over to the arena, caught the last period, and, like, I don't know, it's, like, you create so many good friendships from it as well. And I know we all want fans at our games, so like if other athletes aren't willing to support other athletes, you're not, I don't know. Yeah.
Sure. A couple more questions for you guys. Sticking with the crowds you guys get at your games, can you guys touch on that just once game time actually gets going, and what's it like having a big crowd in the Jack?
It's sick.
It feels
It's
great.
cool, yeah.
It just
Yeah.
keeps you going, and it's
Yeah.
great.
I think the most hype game we had last year was when we were playing Regina. Do you remember how packed the Jack was? Like, insane. Like, it was our home opener. And I think we were down for whatever. There was, like, 5 minutes left. And I just remember, like, just, like, looking around and just be like, this place is packed. Like, yeah.
Anyone you recognize in the stands, or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, a lot of our families come, and, like, people we go to class with. Like, I know even some people I've had projects with, like, oh, I want to come see you play. And they all, like, make the effort, too, which is really nice.
Obviously, being an athlete, you are well connected, like you guys talked about, to the other sports teams. But you're also bound to meet people who aren't athletes, who are into all kinds of other things. They're doing their thing or whatever it is. Do either of you guys or both of you have a pretty big network of friends or connections outside of the Dinos family?
Like, for sure, you meet more people in, like, classes, and when you have, like, group projects, like, you just have to talk to them. So yeah, you meet new people, and, like, like, I still have friends from classes that we still talk, and it's fun to, like, have, like, basketball makes you get new friends, but, like, classes, you meet someone who's not an athlete, and you see the different kind of people too, so it's nice.
Yeah, I would say, like, because you lived in res, right?
Yeah.
Like, living in residence, that was where I met most of, like, my friends or whatever, because you're living together for a year.
Of course, yeah, of course.
And that's what I even tell, like, all the new girls, like, you have to live in res. Like, it is fun, and you meet so many new people, and it's an experience I feel like a lot of people should have.
No, definitely. And coming from my personal background, living in res, it was an obscenely fun time. Like outside of, being, close to everything on campus, it's just the whole family environment to it, kind of like being on a Dinos team for sure, I bet. So second last question, I thought of this in relation to academic success here. Big network of professors on campus throughout all the faculties. So I was kind of curious to know, in your experience, how accommodating have professors been with Dinos athletics and what that is like?
I've never had a problem. We do have to provide proof. Like, our coach will write a letter, and we have to get in contact or whatever. But, like, at the beginning of the year, normally we'll send out an email or go up and introduce ourselves and say, hey, look, I might not be here Fridays or whatever. And just kind of give them a rundown.
Yeah,
I've never had.
No problems at all.
Yeah.
Everybody's so supportive.
Mm-hmm. Like, they know the drill. They know, like,
they've been
there's
around the
nothing
block,
we can do about it.
Yeah, fair enough. So last question for you guys. Thank you for coming in. Really appreciate your time. Is there anything you would say to a student or a prospective student who's thinking about joining the Dinos family, if they have U of C on their back burner and maybe some other schools and they're trying to make a decision? What would you tell them to come to the university?
I have never regretted this opportunity to came here. Like, yeah, sometimes homesick, but, like, there are so many people who are so open to help you. I can't say a single bad word about being here. Like, basketball is great, people around me are great, like, you have everything, like, school, like, I don't know, there's nothing bad I can say, and it's been a good experience.
Yeah, spot on. I mean, feels like family here.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for so much for coming in today. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Thanks for having us.
So thank you again to Bobbi and Lauda for joining me for episode 6 of the podcast, and thanks to you for tuning into it. The women's basketball season is well underway now, so you can head over to godinos.com to follow along with women's basketball and all the other sports offered here at the U of C. If you have questions, thoughts, or concerns about anything UCalgary, send me a note at digital.recruiter@ucalgary.ca, or you can DM me on our Instagram and Facebook channels, That linkage can be found below. The music today was once again performed and arranged by Alvin Fenner, better known by his stage name of Neat Beats. His Bandcamp can be found in the description as well. The song for today is entitled Why Would We Need Breaks, off of his second album, Cosmic Surgery. That's everything for now. My name is Max, and I'll see you for the next one.